I'm back with a new video on YuGiOh Master Duel. Today I'll be covering the staples that I think you guys should definitely try to craft, and also what it means when I say staples in decks, because in decks usually you have a core archetype, which is usually probably around up to 20 cards, and then you fill the rest of the cards with staple cards to help you fill the deck out, and also make them more consistent, and also make them good against certain make them have better matchups against certain decks they're usually not good enough. So here are the list of staples. I recommend you making something like this, and I'll go through all the UR ones, and then I'll go through the SR ones and the R ones. Today I'll be showcasing you guys every staple that you need, from UR to rare staples that you need. Let's cover the URs first. First one is Effect Veiler is a hand trap. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, then target one monster effect your opponent controls, negate the effects of that face-up monster your opponent control until the end of this turn. Very, very useful. The next one is, of course, Maxi. Maxi is very, very important. It lets you draw into the hand traps when they keep on special summoning, so you can maybe stop the combo if you draw into Ash, for example, which is the next card, which is a really, really good staple in every single deck. You can negate the effect that adds a card, special summons from the deck, or send a card from the deck to the graveyard. We have, I missed one out. The Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit is another. It is another hand trap. You can send this card from your graveyard, from your hand or field to the graveyard. Destroy that card on the field. When a monster on the field activates effect or spell and trap card that is activated. There's also Ghost Belly, which is another hand trap. Add a card. You can negate the activation of add a card from the graveyard to hand, deck, or extra decks. Special summon a monster card from the graveyard. Banish a card from the graveyard. You can only use this card once per turn. The next one is Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill. This one I don't see very often, but if your opponent special summons a monster face up during the damage, except during the damage step, you can discard this card, then target one of those face-up monsters, negates its effect until the end of the turn. Also, if that face-up monster leaves the field this turn, its controller takes damage equal to its original attack. Another great hand trap. Next we have Dimension Shifter. If you have no cards in your graveyard, you can send this card from the hand to the graveyard until the end of next turn. Any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. A lot of cards use send cards to the graveyard to special summon them out later. This card is very good against those decks. Next one is Nibiru. Nibiru is underused in Master Duels, but is very, very potent. If they special summon 5 or more monsters, you can just tribute all of them and summon a token for them, and you get a Nibiru. However, sometimes you might not, if it's too strong, the token, you might not be able to get over it, but there are ways to get around this. One, Hobby's Feather Duster. This guy just destroys all spells and traps. Very, very nice. Monster Reborn, you get this for free, so it's not really a UR. Upstart Goblin is a good drawing tool for FTKs or anything. It's a good splash in any deck. Terraforming is a draw one spell card. It's pretty important, I would say. And it's at 1. It's UR. It's really good for decks that have field spells such as Numeron Network. Next one's Instant Fusion. This one's not too popular, but some decks can run this. You can special summon one level 5 fusion monster from your deck, from your extra deck, at the cost of 1000 life points. It's a good combo starter. It's a good extender. Anything that you want to do is pretty good. This one's also used in some decks where you summon a lot of numbers card and you draw one card for each one, which is very, very good. Dark Ruler No More. Negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls until the end of this turn. Also, for the rest of the turn after this card resolves, your opponent takes no damage. Neither player can activate monster effects in response to this card. Pretty good card. Lightning Storm, really good going second card. You get this for free, basically. Super Poly. This you can fusion summon using your opponent's monsters. Pretty useful. It's like a lava golem, but you get to summon something out on your side. Called by the Grave, very, very important card. You can like target a card in the graveyard, so the hand traps that people are using, and just negate their effects. Crossout Detonator, basically the same as this card, but you have to banish a card from your own main deck. Forbidden Droplets is a negate as many monsters as you discard to the graveyard, and their attack is also halved, and this effect cannot be, you know, negated. Really nice. Where's the next YuGiOh? There's this one, Infinite Impedance. It's a trap card and also a hand trap. You can activate this card in the hand, but also if you set this card and you activate it while set, the column that it actually activated in, all the spell and trap cards and monster cards, I mean not just spell and trap cards, are negated for that turn, which is very annoying to play around if you're playing against a new player or someone that just has like muscle memory of placing things in the middle, because it's convenient. Next one is Solemn Judgment. You get this card for free. You pay half your life points to negate a summon, a spell and trap card. Not a monster effect though. And then we have Solemn Judgment. You pay 1,500 life points to negate the summon or activation of a card and destroy it. So it's basically the other half of Solemn Judgment. You negate the monster effect or the special summon. Lastly, we have Imperial Order. Negate all spell and trap cards, but you must pay 700 life points every turn. And let's go on to the SRs. So DD Crow, you can discard this card to the graveyard, then target one card in your opponent's graveyard, banish that card. This is basically Call by the Grave. It's a cheaper version, kind of, because it's a SR. Still not that cheap. Next we have Swift Scarecrow. You don't see this card often. You might see this in Numeron, some decks that need to stall like 1 or 2 turns. You can discard this card to negate the attack, then end the battle phase. Yeah, pretty decent in some decks. Then we have Draw and Lockbird. If a card is added from the main deck to your opponent's hand, except during the draw phase, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard for the rest of the turn. Cards cannot be added from either player's main deck to the hand. So this is like stops people drawing too much. Another SR, great monster. You can special summon both of this if you have no and negate the effect of a monster, and you get this free frame driver. So this is good to stall out the turn as well, because it gives 2 bodies on the field, but you have to banish them. However, if you summon this on your turn, you can actually synchro summon into the psychic synchro monster, which is pretty handy. Next we have Meister. When a card is activated in your opponent's graveyard, you can send this card to the graveyard to negate that effect, which is pretty great. This card you can banish, you can tribute this card from your hand or field. Neither players can banish cards for the rest of the turn. Good against the pot stuff. Also, it's got additional effect, which is great. It's a nice artifact to have. Next we have some pots. Pot of A, pot of D, pot of D, pot of E. You know, these pots are really good drawing cards that you might need to add into your deck, which it allows you to draw cards. As you can see, I don't have all the cards. I'm slowly working my way up. I have a few like Call by Grave and stuff, and some of the SR replacements, but I have a lot of the R's because you can craft them whenever you want and just use them to fill out the deck, which we'll go into in a second after the SRs. You can special summon 1 level 3 or lower psychic monster from your hand or deck, but banish it during the end phase. I don't know why this is good, but I've read about it and I've seen this card. This card is pretty decent in some decks, I heard. Next we have Twin Twisties. It's just mystical space typhoon, but you discard 1 card to destroy 2. Very important card in some decks too. Next we have Evenly Matched. It's a hand trap, and also you can also set it if you want. You can make your opponent banish cards from their field face down, so they control the same number of cards as you do. If you control no cards, you can activate this card from a hand. Very good. It can win games, just straight up. And lastly we have Skill Drain. Activate this card by paying 1,000 life points, negate the effects of all face-up monsters. Very good card. People scoop when they see this. And yeah, we'll just go into... Oh wait, Piri Rice map. You can add a 0 attack monster. This is a great card for certain cards, so like for certain decks. So if you see this card in like if you're neck decking a deck and you see this card, do not feel ashamed to craft it, because a lot other decks will actually use some of these cards as well. For the rare replacements, we have Battle Fader. When an opponent declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then end the battle phase. If this summoned this way, banish it when it leaves. It's basically Swift Scarecrow, but on an R, but it's a little bit more annoying in some decks, but it's very, very good to do the same effect. We have Mystical Space Typhoon, which destroys a spell. Book of Moon is a great staple just to flip some monster face down, and then the effects won't be you can then attack into it, destroy it or whatnot without its effect proccing. We have Torrential Tribute, which is a great board clear. We have Forbidden Chalice, which is the budget version of Forbidden Droplets or any negate spells, but they gain 400 attack, so be careful about that. We have a normal trap, Bottomless Trap Hole, really cool card that just removes from play anything that's opponent summons. Budget, Solemn Strike, stuff like that. Needle Stealing, another board clear. Compulse, another target one monster on the field, return that card into the hand. Same thing as well. Then target one card your opponent controls, then place it on the top of the deck. Compulsory Escape Device. Each player chooses one monster they control, then shoves it into the deck. Another way to get past, destroy cards that cannot be targeted. Your opponent can have to target it itself, so it gets back. When your opponent special summons a monster with 2000 or more attack, negate the effects of one of those monsters with 2000 or more, and if you do, destroy it. Pretty good cards. Another negate and destroy, similar to Solemn Strike. Trap Tricks Trap Hole. When a monster that special summoned this turn activates its effect on your opponent's field, negate that effect, and if you do, destroy that card. Pretty useful. Target one card, face up, discard one card, and if you do, banish it. And then it also becomes a monster. Lost in the Wood. Negate its effect, halves its attack. It's basically Forbidden Chalice, but as a trap. We have Horn, Black Horn of Heaven. It's another Solemn Strike, basically. Negate the special summon, and if you do, destroy it. As you can see, there's a lot of rare cards replacements that you can use instead of URs or the SRs. You just need to choose the right one for the thing, and it's easily craftable because look at your RCP. It's like infinite. It's like freaking infinite. But lastly, we'll get into the extra deck, which is pretty important. I don't have a lot of these cards, but they are, I would say, the most staple. For example, Totally Awesome can be fit into many decks. It's a negate, and you can return it back to your hand, and also you can set a card that you negated. It's pretty awesome. Bahamut Shark, very powerful card. It's not for every deck, but it combos. If you have Totally Awesome in your deck and you can special summon it, you can easily special Bahamut Shark too, which also just automatically special summons it. We have True Kings of All Calamities. With 2 level 9 monsters, you can summon this card that negates, you know, every monster in the field. Next we have Zeus. It's in every single deck, mostly. It's a 3000 beat stick, which is also plus a board clear. Link Karibo. It's like for link climbing, and it's also got a nice effect. Relinquish Anima. It's got a nice effect, and it's also for link climbing too. I don't know what this card is for. Crystron Helicopter. It's also for link climbing. Yeah, it's just a very general good card. And then we have the Nightmare cards, which are all cards that are very useful that can be splashed into most decks. Yeah, and they're good. They have a good effect when they're link summoned, and then you can draw one card, so you gain a lot of advantage for just using them in between. So linked into link 2, to the link 3s, to the link 4s. IP Masquerade lets you link summon on your opponent's turn, which is very good. Verde Ardicande allows you to, you know, fusion summon with this card from your deck, which is really, if you don't draw it, you can summon Verde and summon it. Loads of decks actually use this card. We have Borrowload, very good endgame monster. We have Sword Dragon, also another great finisher. Appaloosa is a great negate for some certain decks. And then we have Access Code Talker, another border wipe plus endgame attack. And then lastly, where I have Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, which is basically a Lava Golem or Kaiju. I didn't add any Kaijus or Lava Golems here because, I mean, you can run some like Kaijus and Lava Golems in here as well. They are pretty stable. I wouldn't be like too bad in putting them in. I recommend crafting Gardala. It plays around Lyralist Tri Brigade, and you know, Lava Golem is also pretty decent too. But this is like a Lava Golem or Kaiju from your extra deck, so you always have access to it. And it also has a really good effect where your opponent cannot activate its card effects that special summons a monster from the graveyard, and you can negate activation of stuff, which is very, very powerful indeed. But anyway, guys, hopefully this guide helped you like show you what kind of staples you should work towards when I say staple cards. And yeah, hopefully you won't feel bad crafting these cards, even though they're not the coolest cards. You can fill your deck with this, and they are in a lot of decks, and you can like fill the decks with some of these cards in a lot of archetypes too. But anyway, guys, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and peace out.